Okay, I'm excited to talk about this here one today. Appropriately, I wore my shirt from Target. How perfectly timed was that, Target? Thank you for that release. Because we're going to talk about, with a little help from my friends, featuring the inimitable Grace Potter. I don't even know what inimitable means. I don't even know if I said it right. But it sounded good, and Grace needed an extraordinary introduction. Grace Potter, actually my friend Blake Lewis introduced me to her music, and I was like, what is this sound? I want everything about this. I want to not only listen to it, I want to emulate it, whatever she's doing. And then I started looking up videos of her online, and I was just blown away. Her freedom and her sexuality, and like at the same time her ability to just nail it consistently while being so free and wild and confident. And she was like a unicorn to me. I tell her this all the time. She gave me permission to be free on stage as a female, as a singer, as a performer and entertainer. And I come from the theater where you hit your marks, you hit your numbers, everything is very precise and exact, and there's a reason it needs to be, because for example, if you're in a show like Wicked, you are a fraction of an inch off of your number and you're injured, which I did. There's so many dangers and so many moving parts in theater that it really behooves you to be on your mark and on your number, and there are so many cues set to what you say and where you are, and too many people rely on you being exact. So growing up in the theater and working in the theater, I am used to being exact and precise, and couple that with the fact that I am a recovering perfectionist. That made for a lot of misery. It made performing not fun and stressful, and it made me beat myself up after shows that didn't go well or performances that were anything less than what I thought they should be or wanted them to be. I didn't know any other way, so I didn't know how hard I was making it on myself or how unhappy I was until I realized what beauty comes with freedom and with playing and with being present and allowing things. There's more of an ability to do that, when you're crafting your own show and doing your own music. And so I really swung to the other, side of the pendulum and found more of that in my expression after, watching a lot of Grace Potter. So I will be eternally grateful to her for that. Then I was singing at this Alzheimer's benefit, and I get to the event for sound check, and I look at the running order, and I see that freaking Grace Potter is performing as well. And I was like, Grace Potter, oh my God, someone has to introduce me. That's my idol. Oh my God, oh my God. So sure enough, we get to the event and someone walks me right up to her, introduces me to her. I, effusively share my feelings about her. She was lovely. I said I'd never seen her live. She said, we're playing, in Joshua Tree next week or whenever. Here's my manager's information. You should come as my guest. Went and saw her. Literally could not believe what I was experiencing. I thought it was amazing on YouTube live. It's like a whole nother experience. So her assistant, Allison, became a dear friend and just kind of enabled me to stay in touch with Gracie. I think Grace is one of the biggest miracles of this project. And I say that because I never would have had the courage or felt worthy enough as an independent artist or as, without a label or without enough, of a following or whatever to ask someone of Grace's caliber to be on my project, be on my album, to duet with me. I've said this many times and I'll say it again. The Pledge Music campaign and the fervor and enthusiasm with which people pledged and plopped their money down for this project so quickly, it just bolstered my confidence and made me feel not only had I made the right decision in making this record, it seemed like people were really excited about the direction and the sound and the concept that I was pitching, but also that there were just that many people out there that wanted to hear something from me, and that gave me a lot of confidence and pride in my work. And when you have that many people believing in you, you just want to deliver for them and be the best version of yourself. I just was like, I gotta be worthy of this faith and this belief and this enthusiasm, so I gotta make bold moves and I gotta make big asks. So I'm just gonna ask her. We chatted for a while, just bullshit and catch up. And then finally I was like, well, you know why I'm calling? I'm making this big band record, and I went on this whole spiel, and she was like, yes, it sounds amazing. I may have a conflict with the date, but da-da-da. And in my mind, I'm like, I'll just send you the track. You can record your vocals at home, and you don't even have to like drive into Hollywood and be there. This woman, after, I won't even tell you what she was in the midst of in her own personal life, which was crazy, still got in the car, sat in like 2 hours of traffic driving from Malibu to the studio in Hollywood, hung out, recorded the song. Of course she recorded the song like that because she's just a freaking pro. And then hung out and like shot the shit in the studio with us for, I mean, the generosity. It is one of the most magical things about this record that Grace Potter not only showed up, but showed up the way that she did with just like, I mean, up until the second she walked into the studio, I'm like, I couldn't believe that it was happening. I'm such the like waiting for the other shoe to drop person. And then, you know, I sat there trying to pinch myself and be like, it's happening. You're singing with Grace Potter. She's right there in the booth next to you. You're both singing. You're singing together. Your voices are singing at the same time. She just still is so casual and easy and joyful. And she walks in and people are just magnetically drawn to her because she vibrates at this frequency that is just like, it's magnetic. You know, sometimes you meet the people that you admire and it's really disappointing because how you see them, the illusion that they paint, and what you get by watching them is not always who they are. Grace is one of those people that she's more than what you think she is in person. She's just extraordinary. So part 2 is, it's important to me that a Beatles song was represented. The Beatles were a huge part of my soundtrack, the soundtrack of my upbringing. Especially this album. This is the Sgt. Pepper's album is my favorite Beatles album just because of the nostalgia of my childhood. So, and I believe it was out the year that I was born. That's right. It is 40. I am 40. And that was Dave's idea. He's like, what if we made it like an Aretha tune? So it's kind of like 2 birds, 1 stone. We got a Beatles tune with an Aretha vibe. 3 birds. And Grace Potter is the fucking Grace. We also had an absolute ball recording those background vocals. We just kind of made it up as we went along. I was like, I feel like Aretha would do this. Woo, woo. And it took us forever to get that riff. And yeah. Those horns. You want to talk about screaming horns? God. That's a killer track. And Aaron Sterling's drums. You guys. And Tim LaFave on the bass. Just things to look out for when you're listening to it. It's a great track. A little help from I get by with a little help from I get high with a little help from my friends.